My name is Sean Amenzade. I'm a senior software engineer at Uber. Code is the language of a computer. So it's a way for us to communicate to the computer of what we want the computer to do. If you've ever had curiosity to build something, and there's two types of world. There's a tangible world and there's like the virtual world. And as we've kind of progressed as a society, we're moving a lot more to a virtual means where literally you can take an idea in your head and then put them into the computer and then have them run a sequence of steps that you want to accomplish a certain goal or task that you have at hand and make our lives easier. You know, growing up, I've always questioned like why something is a certain way. I think my curiosity has always kind of made me want to try to build new things. I've always been a math or science person in general, partially because I like learning about formulas and being able to apply those. I've always hated English classes. I hated writing, I hated reading. Because you just had to read and there was no shortcuts around reading. Like you had to put the time in. I would catch myself using Spark Notes and trying to get the bare minimal amount of time to be able to get a good grade. I think that's kind of what's encouraged me to be a software engineer. The software is always about trying to automate things and reduce the amount of time you have to spend doing something. My professor once told me that you guys are all here as software engineers because you're all lazy. And what he meant by that is that you hate doing things over and over and putting time in. So anything you can do to save time is something you want to add value to. I went to UC Irvine. I didn't think I was gonna be a software engineer. I think I always had this fear of failure and not wanting to try certain things that might be difficult. And the software engineering was like so notoriously scary and hard. And for me, it was kind of nerve-wracking to go into this major, this profession where there's so many things that are difficult to learn, these crazy techniques in science and math. And I just didn't feel like I might have that skill set. But I realized that I was kind of fighting against this curiosity that I always had. I kind of just put that away and decided that this is the best career for me. Software has created endless possibilities. At this point in our lives, like you can apply technology to pretty much every industry, but it's just like any other profession. You end up specializing in certain areas. And that could be whether you work on the back end, which is kind of more the server side, where you're working with multiple computers and figuring out how to write efficient algorithms, or you're working on machine learning AI, where you're coming up with like product recommendations for a user based on data. And then there's also like the user interface, which is more connected to your users, where you touch your phone and you feel the experience of the swipe, and then the way that the phone's interacting with the user. And for me, I've always been so fascinated with the way software makes us feel. So I've been very visual in general. So I've put my energy more on the UI and the front end. The beautiful part of being a software engineer is that you don't work on anyone else's schedule and you work what's best for you. So a lot of times it's project-based and there's no time limits to how long something can take. I don't think you can ever force creativity at a particular time or of the day. Some days you feel inspired and some days you don't. For me, when I'm starting to feel a spark and I have a project deadline, it's nice to be able to decide when I actually want to use that energy, whether that's at the night, whether that's part of the day. But being a software engineer is not always just writing code. There's people involved, and software to me is an art. And with any art, people have opinions on how you write it. So you're dealing with a lot of people's opinions and their feelings, and getting a group of people together who are very opinionated is really difficult. So what becomes important is communication and getting people aligned with your vision. I think that's what a true software engineer does. I think people are so stuck on this idea that they need to do something they love. I would really encourage you to figure out what you're good at. Because I think in general, people want to feel a sense of accomplishment, that they're providing some good to others and contributing. Look at what you're good at and figure out how you can add value and use creativity and adding value in that area. I think there's so many ways to be creative beyond just the means of playing music or something like that. You can be creative in the way you go about anything that you work on and try to use that to fuel you in what you do. One of the coolest things I find about software is that it's such an open community and there's so many resources to learn it. Really, every software engineer that I know has started on their own. For me, it's always been YouTube. Like YouTube, going on there and just Googling a particular technology or how you built this. From there, you can go on a bunch of different free online courses and just get a taste of what it would look like. And if you can write code, you can create products, that's all that matters. So I encourage you to go out and just try it yourself and use all the resources that you have online. The possibilities are endless and it's up to you how far you want to go with it.